G'day, Mike again with Module 4 of our Data Studio course, and short one this time. I just want to talk about the suggested workflow for creating your dashboard. And if you know me fairly well by now, it won't come as a surprise that we're going to start with this. Step 1, engage brain. Do the thinking up front. If I'm talking in Dan Sullivan terms, an 80% approach, this is the 80% that you need to do at the beginning. It's not 80% of the time of the entire project, but it's the bit that needs to come up front that adds 80% of value to the project. It may only be 10% of the total time, but it's 80% of the value. Get this wrong and you're going to be constantly redoing things. Client's going to look at it and go, that's just a data puke, why do I need that? If you do the thinking and you can get the right numbers, the right metrics, the right KPIs, displayed in the right way, and I'm going to give you a bunch of examples, then your job is mostly done. Don't skip this step. Similarly, don't skip this one. Sketch it out first. So what I've been saying with the team here is, I don't care whether it's a piece of paper, it could be a back of a napkin, it could be a whiteboard, it could be Keynote. If that floats your boat and you want to sketch it out there and try and make it look pretty before it's kind of pointless, but if you want to, go for it. But do the thinking before you hand it off to anybody else to help. Now, Data Studio is so easy to use, and you'll figure that out over the course of the next hour. It really is so easy to use that you will have no need to hand this off to a tracking team or to ask somebody else to go put this together for you. It's super simple to use, but if you can sketch this out just for yourself before you sit down at the computer, so before you touch the tech, you're not thinking about, which chart could I use to display this metric? You've done the thinking around that, you've sketched it all out, and then when you sit down in front of Data Studio, that really is just then the last 20%, and you'll get it done so much faster. Once you do sit down in front of Data Studio and you create a new blank report, or whether you're starting with somebody else's template as a starting point, the first step is you're going to connect the data source. A little bit more on that in a later module, just to go into that a bit deeper. For now, I'm just going to keep this very brief, just for the workflow. So the first step is to connect your data. Then you're going to add your various charts and tables. Then you're going to style those. Got a whole module for you coming up around how to style the various elements. Then you're going to add multiple pages if you need to. Now, I've seen plenty of Data Studio reports that are just a single page, and again, for board level stuff, that's more than adequate. If your client requires a lot of data from you, then multiple pages is fine. Just make sure that you name the pages, and again, think back to that layout and theme. I think that was module 2. You may want to put the navigation to the left instead of the top. What that does is it sticks this list of pages to the left-hand side of your dashboard. I think it makes it much more usable. Remember, you don't have to have multiple pages, but if you do, this is where you leave it. This is where you add them. And this is a really important step, before you send it to anybody, just let it sit for a bit. So walk away from it for a day, for at least a couple of hours, but preferably overnight. Let your subconscious ruminate on it, and then come back to it and edit. And you'll see it with fresh eyes, and you'll go, I don't need that entire page. I need an extra chart in there. I could change the colors for this and make that much better. Do the editing later. Don't edit as you go. Do your initial brain dump, get it all out, and then come back a little bit later and edit. Then you can go and make it all look pretty. So you can see here, just using and this isn't the prettiest one that you're going to see, but it's a start, using color to guide the eye, like putting all of those conversion metrics together, for instance, there in the blue box. And like I said before, you can add an image behind the report, you can fade that out, you can do all sorts of funky things. Caitlin, our amazing designer inside of WebSavvy, has been making the most beautiful Data Studio reports for the team, just taking what the team have done and then just prettifying them and making it look amazing. All sorts of stuff you can do with that. Some slightly more advanced filters, and again, we'll talk about this in a module later on, but date pickers and filters, being able to filter your data and being able to segment your data. That's the real power of Data Studio. And then lastly, obviously the main reason that you're doing this is to be able to collaborate and share your data with a client. And in an ideal world, when you're going over a report with a client or you're giving them a report, it's not just that data puke. Avinash talks a lot about this. You want to be sharing your insights. They're not just the data, but what insights have been gained as a result of charting this out, as a result of being able to see these numbers in a different way, in a new light. What are the recommended actions as a result of those insights? And what's the expected business impact as a result of taking those actions? If you can put your reports, if you can put your communication in those terms, you're in the top 5% of analysts now, and your clients will absolutely love you for it. And don't leave out that last little bit. What's the expected business impact of taking these actions that you're recommending, which you've had based on the insights by looking at the right picture in the right context, having the right idea? Super, super, super important. I'll see you soon.